Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com with our weekly Q&A. So all of these questions have been submitted by our Patreon users, so you can support us from as little as $2 a month, and you help pay towards all of our costs for the servers, for our editing software, all the bits and pieces that we need to do in order to run it. So thank you to all of our patrons. This week is a pre-recorded episode because I am on vacation, and next week's will also be a pre-recorded one, which will feature all the questions from our YouTube channel members. So if you are a YouTube channel member, that's when it'll appear, because there was a lot of questions, and I thought, let's just split it up into two. So let's start off with the title one. So Daniel asked, do you think it's true that Bob's Burgers movie will come to Disney Plus in the US and Latin America after the 45-day window? So Bob's Burgers movie is arriving on in cinemas at the end of this month. And of course, internationally, the movie will be arriving on Disney Plus later this year. Now, whether or not we know if it's a 45-day window, we don't really know. Disney are really playing everything like this really close to their chests. They're not really saying too much about how they're doing it. So yeah, I would expect it to arrive, probably end of July, beginning of August, everywhere. In the US, things are a little bit more different because primarily with the US as well, the whole thing with HBO and how they all do all that, it's all a little bit different. Is this film part of it? Is it not? The other issue as well, Bob's Burgers is not on Disney Plus. So could they put it on there? Now, hopefully by the time this actually comes out, they might have already announced some of the titles coming in June. I suspect it's coming up in the next couple of days. Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if this film does get added to Disney Plus along with the previous seasons, to really start boosting up that general entertainment. And I think that would maybe be a good way of doing it. Personally, I would drop this series a few weeks ahead of the film. But currently, as of now, my gut kind of still says it's probably more likely to end up going to Hulu, because that's where the series already are. But Bob's Burgers is a pretty kind of safe episode sort of series. It's not that bad in terms of the content and stuff. I think it's only literally rated like a 12 here in the UK. But hopefully it will do. But this could, I think, would be a nice big push over to it. I definitely feel like, generally Bob's Burgers is kind of one of the more safer adult animated series that 20th Century do, compared to like Family Guy or anything like that. But yeah, Bob's Burgers, I would love to see it. As far as Latin America goes, I would have said no a couple of weeks ago, but this past week they have announced that the Daredevil and all of those series are going to be coming to Disney Plus in June in Latin America with new parental control. So it does open things up, but it does have the issue, obviously, with Latin America with Star. They've still got to feed that one. But for the US, I wouldn't be at all surprised. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they did that one. Another question from Daniel. If the Avatar sequels do well, do you think they could make a Disney Plus spin-off series? I mean, I'm sure it could do with building stories in that universe. I think the fact that we have got like 4 movies scheduled every 2 years is probably enough Avatar at the minute. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there was like an animated series. I don't think the budget would go far enough to make a Disney Plus series. Maybe if they did a prequel one of them going off trying to find the planet, maybe. But I think it would just be too expensive, and they are really going to have to wait and see what happens with these movies. But they got 4 movies coming up. That's a lot of stuff. They are very expensive to make, and I think like if they can't be done properly, it's really going to show, because it's pretty much just an animated movie, and that's going to take a lot of expense. And I mean, just looking at the trailer for the new one, it looks beautiful, but that's a high bar to be put at. Cameron's been making these sequels for a long time, so I wouldn't expect. So I wouldn't be at all surprised with an animated series in a completely different style format to kind of maybe go alongside it. But I wouldn't expect to see a Disney Plus series at least for the next 5-10 years while they've got those movies coming out. Connor says, with Microsoft's acquisition of Activision looming, do you think Sony would try to purchase a major games publisher like Take-Two, Sega, or WB to boost PlayStation? Obviously, that's a slightly different question. I think Sony are going to try and pick up as many different studios as they can. I think Take-Two is probably a little bit too big for them to take out. Sega definitely could easily be picked up. Warner Brothers are looking to sell some of their studios and stuff, so I think that would be a nice boost. I don't think like Disney will go for like Warner Brothers, because they actually have some of the studios that they did the Disney Infinity game with. Disney are better off out of the video games. As much as I love video games, Disney are not very good at them. So I definitely think they're going to be picking that one up. Connor says, have you checked out the South Africans Disney Plus launch slate yet? Yes, so I did up an article earlier this week. You'll find it over at What's on Disney Plus. So the South African launch is happening at this coming week. I think it's Wednesday, it's coming in South Africa. They are getting an incredible lineup, thousands of films, thousands of series. They're getting some stuff that we haven't even got yet. I think things like King of the Hill is going to be on there. But yeah, they are getting probably, I would say, the best launch lineup of any Disney Plus launch so far. They're getting tons of stuff. So they're getting all the star content. They're not having like what happened, for example, here in the UK, where some of the series are being spread out to launch. I mean, remember what they tried to do with The Mandalorian and release them weekly rather than just drop them all? No, they're getting the whole lot. They're getting Moon Knight. They're getting all the Marvel. They've had to wait longer than everybody. And obviously there's more releases coming up in June. But yeah, the launch lineup for South Africa, most of the stuff is already available, like either in the UK, Australia, and Canada. So there's nothing massively different there. But I just think they've got an incredible lineup to bring them straight up to speed with probably, I mean, they're literally, I think they're like launching with, easily one of the best launch lineups so far. So Caleb asked, now that the investors call has happened, what are your thoughts on Chapek mentioning ESPN continuing to be a standalone? I know ESPN isn't in every country, so how would that work? There was a lot of talk about ESPN Plus and kind of becoming a standalone platform. I think they're generally looking at, he said that they wouldn't pull the trigger just yet. They're still in the linear business. They're still making a lot of money with linear. I think they're going to carry on with the feet in both linear and streaming, but I think you're going to start seeing that it blending a little bit more, where it is just, you can watch it on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I wouldn't be too surprised if ESPN Plus goes up a little bit. I think they're definitely going into being a standalone service. However, I would not be at all surprised if they do what they did with Hulu, where ESPN Plus can become like a paid add-on inside Disney Plus. I think the ESPN Plus could go in there, paid access. They might even do some free sports, like live sports, to kind of get you to sign up, give you some of the documentaries and stuff. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if they start really trying to do the bundle a bit in there. And I think it's a good way as well of giving you additional stuff without putting the cost onto the consumer if they don't want it. Because, if I didn't want the ESPN stuff, internationally it's much more harder because the licenses vary between each country. Like here in the UK, it's much more complicated as well because we've got the ESPN player, which is available like right across Europe and Africa. There are some regional differences to what content is available, but there was also a deal with BT Sport where they had the ESPN channel on there. That's literally just been announced this week that they are merging with Warner Brothers Discovery, and they're going to be. There was no mention of ESPN anywhere in there. You've also got the Hotstar element here in the UK, which has like live cricket and other sports. So if they can get the live sports into some kind of package, maybe launch ESPN Plus or relaunch ESPN Player as ESPN Plus within Disney Plus and put a little add-on to it, or give it away for free, depending on what they've got. Because it might be like, there's really just not enough content there to warrant the price. Same thing maybe with what they could do in Latin America. Maybe they could rebrand Star Plus, put Star into Disney Plus, and then you put the ESPN Plus. I feel like that would make the most sense globally. But ESPN is so big; it's a big money spinner. Chapek did call it like their third pillar of content in the US. I mean, they are spending nearly a third of like 300 billion on content. That a third of that is on sports rights. They are really going in heavy on sports. So yeah, ESPN is around for a while. Daniel says, do you think we're likely to hear about Hulu merging prior to 2024? While I have Disney Plus and Hulu, I rarely watch any of the Hulu originals, and subconsciously, I watch them if they were on Disney Plus, going to watch Love Victor when it comes on Disney Plus, despite not watching it before. Well, the good news, when it arrives on Disney Plus in the US, you're getting seasons 1, 2, and 3 all at once. Watch it. It does get better from season 2 on. The first season was originally supposed to be a Disney Plus original, so it's a little bit softer. The storylines really pick up. The third season as well. It's just a really good series. You're really sleeping on some great stuff. The Dropout, Dope Sick, Only Murders in the Building, Pam and Tommy, all fantastic series. You've also got some good movies on there like No Exit. Check that one out if you have got a Hulu subscription, because it is a really good film. Yeah, so I think with regards to 2024, they just have put out an announcement yesterday about they've got some rights now through to 2023. I think they are going with the idea that they are going to have to keep hold of Hulu for a little bit longer. There doesn't seem to be any sign of them. They're starting to make announcements a little bit later on. They could still change stuff, but I think we're much. It's that kind of situation. We can't see a merger until they've actually at least purchased Hulu. But I think we are going to see the lines blending a little bit more. But yeah, I'm still going with the idea at the minute. If Comcast aren't willing to shift, we're just going to. The US is stuck with this like really weird version. And there's a couple of the last question kind of interconnected with that one, with Daniel asking, should Bob Chapek's comment about being selective when it comes to general entertainment on Disney Plus? Is it worry to US consumers? Gives me the vibes of, one or two series this year, and we will see what to do next year. I think this ties into the whole thing with Hulu. If they are still locked in to Hulu for another 2 years, they are really restrictive. I think this whole thing about being selective is more about, I think they're holding off. We've got the upfronts coming up this week. I'm sure we're going to find out a lot more about that ad tier. I think they're waiting until that ad tier comes in. I think they're taking it slowly in the US. They are edging their bets and just putting little things on here and there just to ease US viewers in there, because rather than doing what they've done internationally. To me, the whole world has gone, with their general entertainment. If they didn't have Hulu, I think they'd be doing the same thing. But I do believe that the general entertainment lineup is being held back because of the Hulu stuff, and they're trying to work out what they're doing. But also, more importantly, I think it's that ad tier that they're waiting for, because I think they're going to, when they announce the ad tier, they're going to push the price up, and the way they can get around that is adding a load of mature content. I think that's one of my personal, that's what my gut is telling me. If you're going to put the price up and you're going to do the ad tier, you put in an announcement to sweeten the deal with hundreds of movies and series from the catalog to really boost it up. And I think we're going to see more of that one. Well, there we go. That is all of today's Q&A. Thank you very much for joining me on this one. I'll be back with some interviews this week. We've got some great interviews coming up throughout the week, and we've got a podcast where me and James do a description. We kind of go through a little bit of a spoiler cast on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I also talk about the new FX series Pistol. And then next Sunday there'll also be another pre-recorded Q&A with all of the questions from our YouTube channel members. Thank you very much for joining me. I shall see you guys soon. Later. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Later.